Hey, if you've ever used 23andMe, you're definitely going to want to listen up. A huge settlement has just been reached over that massive 2023 data breach. And if you were affected, you've got some pretty big decisions to make, and soon. So let's break down exactly what this means for you. First, let's just try to wrap our heads around the scale of this thing. The number is, wow, it's just staggering. We are talking about 6.4 million.
That's right. That's how many U.S. residents had their personal info compromised in that cyber attack. And now, after a class action lawsuit, a settlement has finally been reached with the company.
So, what's actually in this settlement? Who's affected by it? And, most importantly, what do you need to do about it? Let's dive right into the details.
Okay, so a settlement is officially on the books. But here's a key detail you might have missed. 23andMe has actually formally changed its legal name to Chrome. And this whole case, it's now being handled in a U.S. bankruptcy court. That's a pretty significant turn of events in the story here.
So, the most important question for you right now is, are you actually part of this whole thing? Let's figure out exactly who is included in this settlement class.
Listen closely because the eligibility rules here are super specific. You're considered a settlement class member only if you meet all three of these criteria. First, you had to be a customer during that specific time frame in 2023. Second, you lived in the U.S. at the time. And third, you got a direct notice from 23andMe telling you that your data was compromised. If you can say yes to all three, then this is for you. Okay, so if you checked all those boxes and you are a class member, what can you actually get out of this? Let's take a look at the compensation that's now on the table. So there are a few different levels of cash payments. The big number you'll see is up to $10,000. But hold on, this isn't for everyone. This is for what they're calling extraordinary claims. Basically, it's for people who can prove they had major direct financial losses because of the breach. We're talking documented costs from identity theft or fraud.
Next up, there's a payment of up to $165 for health information claims. This one is specifically for folks whose sensitive health-related genetic data was exposed in the breach.
And finally, there's an estimated payment of about $100 for statutory cash claims. This applies if you live in a state that has specific consumer privacy laws, like California's CCPA, that were violated here. But it's not just about the cash. And honestly, this next part is so important. The settlement also gives you 5 years of monitoring services. This includes a privacy and medical shield, and, crucially, genetic monitoring. I mean, think about it. You can't just change your DNA like you change a password, right? So this service is designed to keep an eye out for any misuse of your unique genetic code. All right, this brings us to what is probably the most important part of this whole explainer. You have 4 distinct choices, and what you decide to do, or not do, has some very real consequences. Okay, let's break this down. First option, file a claim. This is the only way to get a potential cash payment and to get enrolled in those 5 years of monitoring. The deadline for that is February 17th, 2026. Second, you can opt out. This means you get nothing from this settlement, but, and this is a big but, you keep your right to sue the company on your own. You have to do that by December 29th, 2025. Third, you can object. If you think the settlement stinks, you can write to the court and tell them why by that same December deadline. And finally, and please pay attention to this one, do nothing. If you just ignore this, you get no cash payment, but you can still get those monitoring services. You do, however, give up your right to sue. Let's just put those dates up one more time to make it crystal clear, because they are not flexible. December 29th, 2025. That is your last day to opt out or object. Then, on January 20th, 2026, the court will hold its final approval hearing. And, for most of you, the big one, February 17th, 2026 is your absolute final deadline to submit a claim for money and monitoring. So you're going to want to mark these on your calendar. You know, when you step back from all the deadlines and the dollar amounts, this whole situation really forces a much bigger conversation, doesn't it? A conversation about our most personal information. This whole thing really gets to the heart of a modern dilemma. We hand over our most personal data, sometimes even our literal DNA, in exchange for some kind of service. But what's the real cost when that trust is just completely broken? This settlement, yeah, it offers some compensation, but it leaves all of us with that really big lingering question about the future of our own privacy.